I know that you have said that this was an aberration, but who is watching the store? A Senate Committee on Homeland Security, Joe Lieberman and Susan Collins, warned that law enforcement lacks meaningful standards to prevent anti-Islam material from seeping into counterterrorism. My concern is that we're not looking at criminal behavior, we're not looking at violent behavior, but we're focusing on religious practices, and that this is evident, and I could cite other evidence, I want to give you a chance to answer though, of training materials and written materials of the FBI that describe people who, wear Muslim clothing, etc., as being signals that they may be violent. And I'd like you to comment on this. This is something that we need, I believe, to worry about in this country that values religious freedom and the freedom to practice religion.
Well, I think that's a very valid concern. And as I have pointed out, I think this is a very unusual occasion. And in this particular instance, the individual gave the training. Reports of what had been in that training came up from the students, and we took action to assure that that inappropriate offensive content was not provided to others. There have been other instances that may include what would be perceived as offensive content. We have undertaken a review from top to bottom of our counterterrorism training. I think these are isolated incidents, and in the course of that review, we've had outreach to academicians and others to assist us in reviewing the materials and assuring that that offensive content does not appear. We have 34,000 employees, and we do a great deal of training. We understand the sensitivity and the importance of assuring that that training that we give to our persons are appropriate. As I say, I believe these were unusual circumstances, but we are doing everything we can to do a top to bottom review of that training to assure we eliminate any of it.
I appreciate that, but in looking over some of the other materials, 2006 FBI intelligence assessment, quote, the radicalization process from conversion to jihad, describes activities like increased isolation from former life, wearing traditional Muslim attire, growing facial hair, frequent attendance at a mosque or prayer group, travel to a Muslim country, increased activity in pro-Muslim social group or political cause, proselytizing. If you changed Muslim to born-again Christian, to Orthodox Jewish, you could find the same kinds of activities. This seemed to be central to what FBI agents are to look for as suspicious and perhaps radical and dangerous and violent behavior. Is this now take out of the activities of the FBI and its training?
Well, I am not certain what piece of paper you're looking at, but I can tell you that when it comes to assuring that we have the appropriate training, as I say, we are looking at all of our training materials. We've had outreach to persons outside so that we make certain that we're on the right track. On the other hand, we have an obligation to try to identify future threats to the United States. It should not be based on religion. It should not be based on religious characteristics. But nonetheless, we have an obligation to identify those particular characteristics that might give us a warning as to a person who will undertake an attack against the United States. And it's not necessarily on the international terrorism side alone. We have militants within the United States.
Of course, I understand.
And we have to, and there's a certain amount of investigation that has to be done to enable us to identify those persons who would undertake the attacks against the United States. But we want to assure, and I assure you, that we want to do it in such a way that is consistent with our values.
To do otherwise, I think, would be counterproductive in terms of cooperation of the Muslim community, which has been there. And I thank you for that investigation. I'd like to see the results of that when you've completed it. Thank you very much.
Okay. What I would say, again, as you allude to, is the fact that our outreach over the years has been very successful, I think, in bridging the relationships with the Muslim American community. And this is, I think, something that's unfortunate, and we've addressed it.
Thank you.